Welcome back to Finding the Next Step, where I document step by step my journey to change the world with math and hope to encourage you to take the next step in your journey too. On the last episode, we ended on lots and lots of jobs to look through, and we're looking to data science to save us. Of course, the irony of this is that data science has a lot of things to look through as well. There's so many different options that you can choose from, so many different methods, and so it's almost like you trade one problem for the exact same problem. Lots of jobs was the original problem. Now the new problem is lots of data science methods. So how do we make this work? Well, in the spirit of finding the next step, we pick something simple that seems obvious and we try it, see if it goes somewhere, and try just not to stay stuck because we don't want to get caught up in all of the different possibilities and just endless thinking and ruminating. We want to just take a little bit of action, see what works, and go from there. So I did a very simple analysis, and the way that I did this was pretty much the first thing that came to my mind. I didn't spend a lot of time researching all of the deep data analysis techniques. I just took the very first idea that popped in my head. So I took the XML list of all the jobs, there are about 100,000 jobs, and I divided the descriptions into words and phrases. And I also looked up online two keyword dictionaries, one for machine learning and one for programming, because those seem to be the two common areas that were used in the data science job descriptions that I looked at. And what I did is when I broke these up into words, I looked specifically for these words that were used as keywords in these machine learning and programming dictionaries. And what I found was that there were a lot of different keywords in there that had a lot of matches, and there were some that had very few matches. So I decided to look through the ones that had very few matches because I was looking for something that might be simpler that I could pick off. And I saw something called k-means, got a few hits, but not a lot of hits. And k-means is a very simple clustering method. Now, when I used to be in grad school, I worked on clustering for a pharmaceutical company for their data sets. And so k-means was something that I knew from that work was a fairly simple clustering method. So I thought it's been a while since I've done direct data science work, so maybe picking at something that's simpler. Now, again, this is going off something I know. So when I'm trying to find the next step, I'm trying not to sit out here and say, well, look at me, I had this experience here, so that's what's moving me forward. You have to kind of focus on where you have your experience and go from there. If I was a more experienced data science person, I probably would have done something a lot more complicated, or I probably would have been able to get more job listings if I knew more about how to do the programming for that. So it's not so much about being a super expert, it's about starting where you are. Even if you don't really know any programming or any data science, just take the simplest thing you can, just go on there, copy paste some job listings, and if you have no programming, I guess just glance through and maybe try to use some product that's online that might be simple to use, that's prepackaged, something like that. But just kind of get creative with where you are and try to go from there. So I reached out to about 5 to 10 jobs and I asked them, I said, hey, I'm doing this YouTube series. I'm a YouTube person and I have this limited history with data science and I'm, very interested in math, which, math and data science go hand in hand. So, I'd be interested in any part-time projects that you might have, to sort of get my feet wet, get an idea of what's out there, see what else I can do sort of in the math realm. And I will let you guys know how that turns out. I am not an expert in reaching out to companies or writing cold emails or any of this kind of stuff. So I just kind of winged it. I went with, the first thing that came to my mind. I basically made a little template of sort of what I felt would be my most useful and pertinent experience, kind of framed it in what I thought would be most interest to potential employers, because it's all about helping them. It's not about helping yourself. So something that would be of interest to them that would help them. And I looked through the job descriptions to see if there's anything of interest that I could pick out that I could add to sort of my template, and I would put that in there. So I try not to spend a huge amount of time on it, because the other thing too is like we're talking about in finding the next step, if you spend a lot of time on something and it doesn't pan out, it's really quite a big loss. So I just tried to keep it simple, try to do a few of these. We'll see how these turn out. And so now I guess it's time for the next step. And so the next step that I thought of is sort of a fork in the road, if you will. I thought of the very next logical step, which is to do a deeper data analysis to try to find some other ideas of other places that I might be able to reach out to and see if there's something math related that I can help them with. And I thought of actually a different idea as sort of a fork, which is Etsy. So Etsy is something that probably most people are familiar with. It's an online marketplace where you can sell stuff, basically. And one of the reasons that came up for me is I've been using Midjourney, which is an AI art generator, to do some of the titles, like the thumbnails for the YouTube video. So this YouTube video, the background art for that was made using Midjourney. So I've been watching a lot of stuff on that. And I've really been liking it. One thing they mentioned in there was that there's a lot of stuff that people are doing now with selling Midjourney related things on Etsy. So I got to thinking, well, there's probably data sets on what sells, what stores do well on Etsy, things like that. So I thought, well, maybe I could sort of do an independent data analysis and see if there's something that I could use, maybe Midjourney or something else that I know, to sell things on Etsy. So basically do a data science analysis of Etsy data to find out what might sell well, what might be a good store to create. So I'm probably going to try a little bit of both of those ideas, or maybe if I just get so excited about the Etsy idea, because to me, I just love the AI art stuff. That I think is so cool. I never really had much of an interest in art museums until recently, actually, because in AI art, if you know the artist, you can put his name in there or her name in there, and it'll actually create art that's similar to that. I actually went with my sister to the Salvador Dali Museum in Florida, and I just that was a very boring experience for me. Although that being said, he is more of an abstract artist, and I like more sculpture and classical, things that look like art that I couldn't make myself. Although Salvador Dali is still not so abstract like a Jackson Pollock or something like that. That he's what I would guess is at my level. But although people love Jackson Pollock, but to me it just seems like paint thrown on there. But anyway, I digress. But it's really been getting me actually excited to start going and looking through art. I actually have an Excel spreadsheet that I got from one of the Midjourney sites that lists a bunch of artists and their paintings, so that you can get an idea of what to add in there to make your art look better. And so it's something I'm kind of excited about. So I like the idea of tying something that I'm personally excited about with the math. And so I'm really kind of excited about that. I don't know how many more times I can say excited about that, but I'm excited about that. So maybe that's something that will stand a better chance of going somewhere. I don't know. So tune in for the next episode and find out.